Good evening and welcome to our Sunday evening service. I'm Pastor Ezra. Thank you for taking the time to join us. As Pastor Joe said this morning, over this week and next 2 weeks, the sports and evangelism ministry will be taking over the Sunday evening feed. So welcome. I pray you had an excellent day. I don't know if you were in church this morning, but it was a powerful service. Again, Brother Sean did an excellent job from the worship. Everybody in church was just good. We're still able to know that Jesus is still able to do exceedingly and abundantly more than all we can ask or think of. Even in a pandemic, our God is still able. So this evening, we're going to touch on health, but health from a physical point of view. And this evening, I'm joined by two lovely guests. First of all, Ms. Carla Ramsey, and second, Mr. Ricky Clark. They've taken the time to come on this evening and share with us. They have a wealth of knowledge and a wealth of experience. So without further ado, I'm going to open in prayer. They're going to give you let you know a little bit about them through their bios. And then I will turn it over to our first speaker, Ms. Ramsey. She will go about the nutritional aspect of health. I know that's something that we all need now. You know, in a pandemic, we can't really do as much. We can't go a lot of places. Places shut down, places close early. We want to know how we can eat and still be healthy. And then Mr. Ricard will do with the fitness side of health, but exercising, how we could lose, probably shed a few pounds, some of our COVID weight we had since last year. And also the importance of even things like sleep and things that we don't necessarily link to health. Those things are very important as well. So let's pray and let's dive right in. And after the presentation, then you can have question and answers. So feel free to send in your questions and we'll get an answer to you. And also do not forget to put in the chat which house you are in. As Pastor said this morning, I know she has on her blue shirt even though watching this, because she made sure to let people know that Blue House is the house of the cathedral. And even though they're in, she has hopes that the next sports day we can have in person that Blue House will be victorious. You never know, some of our guests may even come in and be a part of a host. You might see Carla Ricky in a green shirt or a blue shirt or a red shirt. You never know. So let's pray and let's go. Dear Lord Jesus, we thank you, God, for an awesome day. God, we thank you, God, that you are still alive and that you are still moving. And God, we thank you, God, that we can even tune in on Sunday evening to fellowship as a community, God, as our team is still beyond membership, fostering community. So I pray, God, you bless our panelists, God, bless Carla and Ricky as they share the wealth of knowledge. Pray touch them. Pray God you use them. Thank God for this sacrificing their time, Lord God. All 15 minutes, I could come back, God, and be a great asset to us, oh God. I pray God that we able to learn and gather some information, able to apply it to our life so that we can live healthier lifestyle. Because one thing to be spiritually healthy, but it's also important to be physically healthy as well. So God, you receive the glory, God, you receive the honor, and God, you receive all the praise. In Jesus' name, amen and amen. So who is Carla Ramsey? Carla is a nutritionist of 20 years experience. She has worked with the National Nutrition Center, Ministry of Health of Barbados, Ministry of Health of Turks and Caicos Islands, and the Heart and Stroke Foundation of Barbados. Her duties include counseling and advising persons how to achieve a healthy lifestyle through sound nutrition practices, preparing and disseminating of nutrition information through print and other means. Ms. Ramsey is a fitness and cooking enthusiast as well. Then Ricky. Ricky is a very well-known cricket coach. In 1985, he received a National Cricket Association Teaching Award. In 2009, he obtained the WICB Level 1 Coaching Certificate. In 2010, he obtained the BOA Sports Administrative Certificate. In 2010, also, he did the Heart and Stroke Foundation for its A course. In 2011, he used the Sports Administration course. He worked with the International Olympic Committee. In 2013, he obtained the Tutor Assessor Certification. And in 2017, he obtained the ECB CW Irish Cricket West Indies Level 3 Coaching Certificates. Some of his other achievements include work at Kensington Oval. He was the caretaker of the West Indies dressing room from 1968 to 1980. He was also a professional cricketer in England and Scotland from 1981 to 1986. And he's also the owner and manager director of RC Barbados Tours and Sports Zones, Inc. And right now, he is the current coach of Wanderers Cricket Club, and he was there from 1978 as a member until now. So, without further ado, I want to make our guests feel welcome as they come with wealth of experience in their fields. So, I'm going to turn it over to Carla as she's going to start with the nutrition side of health. Then, when she's finished, Ricky will do the health, the fitness side of health, and then we have questions and answers at the end. So, Ms. Carla, over to you. Thank you very much.
Good night, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm just going to share my screen temporarily. Um, it is great to be here. Thanks for the invitation. It was short notice, but I always like to talk about nutrition, especially now in this COVID time. You want to play a lot of emphasis on what exactly you're putting into your bodies. So going through, let's do a little basic nutrition. Um, we're going to talk a bit about healthy eating and having a balanced diet and why that's important, because it's important in maintaining your good health so that you can feel your best. Unfortunately, through social media and different medias, we tend to focus more on weight loss, but let's think about our total health, feeling our best self, best energetic self, and being able to do all the things that we need to do. What exactly is a balanced diet? It means eating a variety of foods in the right portions and consuming the right amount of foods and drinks to achieve a healthy lifestyle for you. It's a very individual process, and that's one of the points I really want you to take home. So, what is our food? In the Caribbean, we divide our food into groups, and it's based on nutrients, which we'll go through next. So, our basic six food groups are your starches, your foods from animals, your legumes, your vegetables, your fruits, and your fats and oils. So those are your basic six food groups. Those are the ones for the Caribbean. The US and UK will have like five, some have four, but we group our foods in six. So this is basically just a snapshot of what it looks like. So your starches are basically like your flours, your ground provisions, cornmeal, rice, corn, your bread, biscuits, your roti skins will fall into this group. The foods from animals speaks for themselves, including milk and cheese, both processed and unprocessed, and we'll go through that in more detail. Your legumes, which is your peas, beans, and nuts, and this is a very important group right now. Your vegetables, and that's divided into two types. So you have your starchy vegetables and you have your non-starchy vegetables, and that becomes a little bit more important as we discuss a balanced diet. You have your fruits, both local and imported, and yes, we like to focus a lot on our local fruits. And you have your fats and oils, and you'll notice that we have coconut and we have avocado and the Jamaican ackee in this group, because we tend to group our foods by the nutrient that's most abundant. So that's why that's in that category. But we'll discuss that a little bit further. Now, a food nutrient is a substance that provides nourishment essential for growth, health, and maintenance of life. So we then have seven nutrients that we pay attention. So there's six food groups, but seven nutrients. So you have your carbohydrate, your protein, and your fats. And why these three are important, these are where you get majority of your energy from. So they're the energy given nutrients, which would be carbohydrate, protein, fat. And then, sorry about that, then we have the other ones, which would provide your body with substances for life, which is like your vitamins, your minerals, your fiber, and your water, which is essential. Although fiber is a type of carbohydrate, we tend to treat it a little bit more different. So let's go delve a little bit more into detail. Carbohydrate is your body's preferred source of energy. I know now you will see a lot of diets that tend to tell you cut carbohydrate or cut your carbs. But if you see on my left how wide and varied carbohydrates are. So although yes, it's your body preferred source of energy, it is found in a wide variety of foods. So not only in your starches, you're gonna find it in your yogurts, you're gonna find it in your legumes, you're also gonna find it in your fruits, and you're also gonna find it in your vegetables. So it's a very wide ranging nutrient. It comes almost across the whole food group, except for fats and oils to a certain extent. Starch, sugar, and fiber are the three main components of your carbohydrate. We like to pick a lot on sugar right now, and because when we were discussing it earlier, we talked about good carbohydrates versus bad carbohydrates. So you want to limit your sugar intake, and yes, because you know it leads to diabetes, it leads to being overweight or obese. So not that it's totally bad, but you want to limit your amount you're going to have. You want to focus on your starches, and you want to focus on fiber, especially, although they're all carbohydrates. Sugar and starch supplies the most energy, but from your diet point of view, you want your energy to come from the starches, not sugar. So we don't want to be going down the line of having, let's say, 3 or 4 soft drinks a day, and our energy is then coming from mainly sugar and nothing else but sugar. Yeah. Fiber has other benefits, and most carbohydrate foods contain other nutrients. And that's another take-home point I want you to remember. One food or food group will contain many nutrients. So once you're covering, when we talk about eating a wide variety of foods, you tend to get all the nutrients you need to have. Protein, every cell in your body is built with protein, is required for repair and rebuilding of muscles and red blood cells, and also for function of your nervous system. Protein is used as an energy. Your body generally does not use it as an energy very readily unless a lot of carbohydrate is not available or you're not meeting your carbohydrate needs. A balanced diet generally provides a lot of protein. You tend to see our protein intake when we get older, when we try to not eat as much meat, or we complain we don't want to chew as much, or we're tired of eating a particular type of protein. But as you see, there are wide sources of. What you want to focus on is the lean protein, lean as much as possible, removal of most of the fat and the skin. You can also shift towards the legumes, beans, peas, and nuts, which are a great source of protein, excellent in fiber, and very little fat accompanying it. For the peas, you have your dairy, and we also have our non-dairy options now that are widely available. Fat, it usually gets a very bad rap, but is actually essential. It's a concentrated source of energy, yes, and is also responsible for the absorption of vitamin A, D, E, and K. So straight off, if you do not have, or you are not utilizing a lot of healthy fat, you tend to be very vitamin deficient for these especially. Choose healthy fats and limit saturated fats. So when we talk about healthy fats versus bad fats, you're looking for like your olive oil, your avocado oil, your coconut oil, sunflower, your nuts and seeds. For those who are familiar, like your pumpkin seeds, sesame seeds, flax seed, chia seeds. Avocado pear is also another healthy source of fat, as well as what we call oily fish. Yeah. Let me stick a caveat here. Although, yes, avocado is a healthy source of fat, when it comes to that, too much of a good thing can become a bad thing. And we kind of discuss that a little bit later as well. Your vitamins, your body naturally does not make them, so you need to get them from your food or a multivitamin source. But your body preferred method of getting it generally is from your food. So we push as much as possible to eat a wide variety of foods so that you meet your nutrient needs and your vitamin needs. They're divided into 2 classes, your water soluble one, which is your B complex and your vitamin C, and your fat soluble ones, as discussed previous, vitamin A, D, and K. The difference between these two, these tend to be excreted from your body very quickly, and they're not well stored. So you generally need to make sure you're getting foods rich in B complex and vitamin C daily. These store a little bit more, so you don't have, not that you don't pay attention to it, but you focus a lot on the B complex and the vitamin C's. Minerals, same thing. Your body generally don't make them, so you rely heavily on your food. And there are 2 classes of them: your major ones and your minor ones. And also, as with the vitamins, you can also get this from a multivitamin if you need. Fiber, The other F word we say in our profession is a carbohydrate. It is essential as well because it tends to help you control not only body weight, your appetite. It prevents constipation, colorectal cancer, and that is a major concern for us in our profession right now and in medical field. It helps lower blood cholesterol, blood pressure, helps control blood sugar. So this is like the magic brush. So you're looking for foods that are rich in fiber when you're planning your diet, and it also assists in weight loss. Water, 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 water. You're either gonna eat it or you're gonna drink it, but we prefer water as opposed to any sugar sweetened beverages when it comes to with your main meals. It enables your body to carry all the functions it needs. I usually equate it to you have 2,000 persons in Oistins trying to get to, let's say, Spikestown, and your bus is your water. So you persons there are like your vitamins and minerals. It goes nowhere if your body is not properly hydrated. Your food is of very little help for you nutrient-wise if your body is not well hydrated. So you see how important hydration is and the correct form of hydration. So let's get into the meat of matter, planning a healthy diet. We would have seen the pyramid years before. So now this is a new demonstration of how to plan a healthy diet. We use the plate now, which is supposed to be more representative of what we do. So on a normal given day for the average person, because your diet will change depending on who you are, you want half your plate to be non-starchy vegetables, salads, along that line. A quarter of your plate will go to your lean proteins, whether you're going to go a vegetarian source or not. And the other quarter will go towards high fiber carbohydrates or high fiber starches, anything along that line, your ground provisions. A small amount of fats would be included as well. Because remember, they're essential, but you don't need a lot of them because they tend to be very calorie rich. So this is what we talk to the average person. But your diet, as I said, is very individual. So this concept can change according to who you are and what you want to do. If you're trying to gain weight, if you're trying to lose weight, if you're trying to control diabetes, hypertension, high cholesterol. But this is the basic one that generally meets all needs if you are pretty good in health standing, yeah? So let's look at how we can break it down. If you are training or if you are in weight management in terms of your doctor says to you need to lose a couple pounds, or you just on your own want to lose a couple pounds, the demonstration before is adequate. You want half your plate to be veggies, non-starchy ones. You want a quarter of your plate to be your lean meats as much as possible, and the other quarter to be your high fiber starches. If you want to, you can further reduce and like increase your protein. That's why this line is here. And you can reduce your carbs and a little less, yeah? If you're a moderate trainer, if you're a person who trains, or if you are a person that works very heavy, like let's say your job is very laborious and you need to require a bit more energy, your starch needs will go up a little bit more. But you see, we still focus a lot on our veggies and your non-starchy veggies, and we keep our protein, our lean protein. If you are a hard-working person or a hard-training person, like our athletes, or if you are in construction, your carbohydrate needs and your starch needs are going to be more than the average person because you require a lot more energy. You still keep your protein and you still keep your vegetables as such. I'm going to go back to one slide. So let's make a correction. Not a correction. Let's think of what our typical plate looks like on a Sunday. Where do we normally put our rice, our pie, those kind of things? So you realize that we tend to focus a lot on starch, but our traditional diet does not usually have a lot of vegetables. So that's why we push a lot of vegetables, because we want you to be in good nutrient standing, meet all your nutrient needs in terms of vitamin, minerals, fiber, and some of your starches. And remember, we want quarter of your plate to be starchy because this is where a lot of your energy is going to come from. So if you have a plate, if we are not a construction worker and our plate tends to look more like this, it tends to cause weight gain in the average person if you are not working hard. Let me give you a difference. I can have Tom and Tim. Tom is an accountant and he sits at a desk at a computer all day long. And then you have Tim, who works on a construction site. So you'll find they're exactly the same height, exactly the same weight, and exactly the same age, but their diets will be different. Because one will need more energy than the other, who will not expend a lot of energy. So one take-home point I want you to have is that your diet is very individual to you. So I usually want persons, you cannot pick up your friend's diet and use it, or they may work beautifully for her, but it may not suit your situation. Yeah, you may have to kind of tweak it a little bit to get where you want to go. If you want to lose weight, gain weight, or control a disease. Now, some other points I want you to be very aware of when planning or eating healthy. You need to be a detective. I usually say to my clients, when we're buying a cell phone, we're buying a car, we're buying a house, we do the detective work. We look into what's the best one, what's the best shelf life, what gives me the longest battery life, XYZ. But we hardly do it for our food. I want you to become a detective now and read your food labels. And not only the nutrition fact panel, because most people just look like, okay, is it high in salt? Is it high in sugar? Is it high in carbohydrates? Or is it high in something else that you're looking for, cholesterol? But what I want you to look as well is the list of ingredients, because that's where the magic happens. That's where anything can be, well, not really hidden, but if something is going to be hidden, that's where it's going to be hidden. Yeah? So you look for your serving size, which is very important, but you also read your food labels and the list of ingredients. Point to note, the food label and the list of ingredients is arranged in a matter of abundance. So what you see first, second, and third are the first, second, and third most abundant in the package. So if you see sugar, fat, or salt coming at number one, it means it is high fat, high sugar, high salt. So if you want to take a little run through what you have in your cupboard, look and see what your juices say, look and see what your canned meats may say, or anything else that have a label, especially cereals, and see what you're eating exactly. Rule of thumb for me, you must always understand your list of ingredients. If you cannot pronounce the word, if you don't know what it is, if your ingredients list is 40 items long and it should only be about 6, then those are warning signs or trigger signs that you should be a bit more wary about what you're having. Yeah? Some points: choose good carbs, not no carbs. Choose good carbs. And remember, you are going to get them not only from your ground provisions, your whole wheat and whole grains, you're also going to get them from your fruits, which we encourage you to have, and you're also going to get them from your vegetables. Your starchy ones, like your pumpkin, your squash, will come in now for independence, your plantains, your bananas, so stuff like that. Pay attention to your protein. You want fish, poultry, nuts, beans. If you're choosing any other meats, you want as lean as possible, because your fat, so it will contain some fat, but you want it as lean as possible. If it has a skin, please remove the skin before cooking. Choose foods which are healthy with healthy fats. So you want to limit things higher saturated fats, which would be like your pastries, jam puff meat roll, currant slice, chicken patties, saltfish patties, lentil patties. It's not the inside that we worry so much about, it's the outside, the flakiness of that pastry, which tends to be high fat. You want to limit frying of your foods, and you want to limit consuming fast foods as well. That needs to go back to being a treat and not necessarily every 3 days or all 3 or to 7 days or 4 to 7 days we're having a fast food alternative. I usually encourage my clients, cook as much as you can at home, because then you know what's in your food. You want to choose fiber-filled diet, as we said before, and those if you want to go color. The prettier your plate, the more nutrients and phytonutrients and antioxidants you're going to get. You give your body a fighting chance. So you want your reds, your yellows, focus a lot also on your greens, which tends to be pretty reasonable in price. So you're going for your broccolis, your okras, your beans, your Christophines, your lettuce, your spinach, your kale. And let me stick a pin there to say, if you have space at home where you can grow, even if you don't have space at home, you can find some small containers or buckets that you can grow a vegetable or some herbs. Please, I encourage you, please do. Calcium is also important, especially as we age. But milk, we tend to focus on milk and cheese and dairy products. But your dark green leafy vegetables are also an excellent source of calcium in your diet. So if you have a person you're concerned with your calcium intake, or you have an aging person in your household and you want to keep their bone density up, you can try your dark green leafy vegetables also for your calcium. Water, as we said earlier, is your best thirst quencher. Skip the sugary drinks. You will see all the ads that Heart and Stroke would have put up now about limiting your sugar intake, and especially consumption of sugar sweetened beverages. Not only sweet drinks, juices as well are a high source of sugar. Some carrying as much as 35 to 45 grams per serving. It is generally over what the daily intake is supposed to be for any grown adult versus even a child. Yeah, you want to eat less salt, and that's good for anybody's health, man, woman, child. When we talk about salt, table salt, yes, you can add salt to your food. That's not an issue, but you want to read your products to see what your sodium levels are, what the percentage is. I'll give you some numbers. You're looking for anything under 10%, 10% and under. Those are my guidelines. My cutoff generally is 15, but for safe side, 10% and under per serving is fine. Anything over 20% tends to be considered very high sodium. And you could also read your list of ingredients to see if you see a sodium or sodium related word coming more than once in your label. Yeah, where a lot of our sodium is coming from recently, not recently, but what we add to our food. The salt, because you will go home and the doctor will say don't eat any salt. We tend to take with the table salt, or we switch it to a different salt, which is the Himalayan salt or the sea salt. Yes, those are good and they have nutrients, but if you overuse them, the problem is still there. Yeah, you want to watch out for your all-purpose seasonings, your complete seasonings, your bouillon cubes, which are also a good source of sodium in your diet. You want to look at your canned products or any packaged products. And I usually give a little homework to my clients, and I say, because there are a lot of products that are out there that do not taste salty, because we may be relying on taste, they're actually very high in sodium, which are like cereals. So take a look to see what you have in your home and where exactly it falls. Moderate drinking, but that's a health risk and still, but you really benefits pros and cons. If you are on serious medication, it is not recommended at all. A daily multivitamin is a great nutrition insurance policy. And let me clarify that statement. It helps, but it's not supposed to be your main source of nutrients. It's supposed to supplement what you eat and create or fill in the shortfall. It is not supposed to be, we don't eat at all and we take a multivitamin and we get all the nutrients we need. It does not work that way, unfortunately. Yeah. So I think that's, yes. And thank you for your time. I will wait all the questions, if any. Hand it over to you, Mr. Clark.
Yeah, good evening to all. I'm not sure if Pastor Waldron will be interceding between us, but I think that I'm pretty okay to go straight ahead.
Please
Thanks
go
very
short
much,
ahead.
Carla. Yeah, that was quite a mouthful of information you've given us. And I think it nicely ties into our little presentation that we'll be trying to get across to your audience, Pastor Waldron, on the importance of exercises. We all know that exercise is important in our daily lives, but we may not know why or what exercises can do for us. It's important that we have evolved from what they may call a nomadic ancestors who spent all their time moving around in those early years, searching for food and shelter, traveling large distances on a daily basis. Our bodies are designed and have evolved to be able to undertake regular activity. In the same way that a sports car is designed to go fast, we're designed to move. It's if this car is taken out just once a week for a 3 mile trip around town, then you can easily imagine that over time it would develop problems with the engine. Over time, people too develop problems if they sit down all day at a desk or in front of the TV and minimize the amount of exercise they do. There are many benefits of regular exercise and maintaining fitness. And I would like to touch on a few of them. Um, Exercise increases energy levels. It improves both the strength and the efficiency of our cardiovascular system to get oxygen and nutrients to our muscles. When your cardiovascular system works better, everything seems to work easier and you have more energy for all the fun things that are in life. Exercise improve muscle strength. Staying active keeps muscles strong and joints, tendons, and ligaments flexible, allowing you to move easily and to avoid injury. Strong muscles and ligaments reduce your risk of joint and lower back pain by keeping joints in a proper alignment. They also improve coordination and balance. We know that some of us from time to time may just be in a position where from our work patterns, we slouch in chairs. We stand with postures that are crooked to the side. And we don't even realize that over a significant time, these sort of bad postures create pressure on our bodies. And you may think that for some reason that you have an underlying problem, but that problem really just is as a result of bad alignments in the way how we put our posture. Exercise helps that. Exercise can help you to maintain healthy weight. The more you exercise, the more calories you burn. In addition, the more muscle you develop, the higher metabolic rate becomes. So you burn more calories even when you're not exercising. The result, you may lose weight and look better physically, and this always boosts your self-esteem. You have that universal feeling. You move around with a self-assurance. And no one, well, most people like to know that they're moving around with that type of feeling. Exercise is one of the main components that assist you with that. It also improves your brain function. Exercises increases blood flow and oxygen levels to the brain. It also encourages the release of the brain chemicals, which we probably would have heard as hormones, that are responsible for the production of cells, the part of the brain that controls memory and learning. This in turn boosts concentration levels and cognitive ability and helps reduce the risk of cognitive degenerative diseases such as Alzheimer's. Apart from the brain, it's also good for the heart. Exercise reduces LDL cholesterol. And that's the type that clogs your arteries. It increases the HDL, the good cholesterol, and reduces blood pressure. So it lowers the risk on your heart. Added to this, it also strengthens your heart muscles. Combined with a healthy diet, this is what Carla was speaking about. Exercise lowers the risk of developing heart disease, coronary disease, things that, that we all suffer from time to time. It also increases, it also lowers the risk of developing diabetes. Regular exercise helps to control blood glucose levels, which helps to prevent or delay the onset of type 2 diabetes. Additional exercise helps to prevent obesity, which is a primary factor in the development of type 2 diabetes. Exercise enhances your immune system. Exercises improve your body's ability to pump the oxygen and nutrients around your body that are required to fuel the cells that fight the bacteria and the various viruses. Staying active reduces the likelihood of developing some degenerative bone diseases as well. Weight-bearing exercises such as running, walking, and weight training lowers your risk of osteoarthritis and osteoporosis. And I guess you've all heard of the adage, you use it or lose it. And this really applies to your bones. Very important. Exercise may help to reduce the risk of certain cancers as well. Being fit may mean that the risk of colon cancer, breast cancer, and possible lung cancers are reduced. Studies by the Seattle Cancer Research Center have suggested that 35% of all cancer deaths are linked to being overweight. Active people tend to sleep better. Physical activity makes you more tired, so you're more ready to sleep. Good quality sleep helps improve overall wellness and can reduce stress. Exercise improves your mood and gives you an improved sense of well-being. This is what I was alerting to early on. Physical activity stimulates the body, which makes you feel better and more relaxed. These in turn improve your mood and lower your stress levels. Physical exercise activity can help you also in going around your daily lives, meeting people, reduce stress levels, cope with frustration, give you a sense of achievement, and provide some important, what you may call as me time, of all which may be coming into a depression. Keeping fit can also reduce some of the effects of aging. I'm sure some of you will be very keen to know this. Exercise can be fun. Getting fit is not just about running on a treadmill for hours in your local gym. It can be a dance class or a new hobby like biking. It could be a group or team activity, similar to what I undergo: cricket, hockey, football, netball, any sort of judo or karate class. Whatever form of exercise you choose, you almost certainly meet new people and may make new friends. That's very healthy as well. How much should you exercise? According to the American College of Sports Medicine, current guidelines suggest that to stay healthy, adults between the ages of 19 and 64 should try to be active daily. Cardiorespiratory exercises, and this is now going into another level of exercising for those persons who are already into exercise. Cardiovascular and cardiorespiratory exercise, often abbreviated as cardio, is an exercise that increases the heart. It increases the heartbeat and the breathing and your breathing rate. And these exercises include walking, running, swimming, cycling, dancing, and team sports that we all know about: cricket, soccer, football, netball, hockey, basketball. You should get at least 150 minutes of moderate to intense exercise per week. These recommendations can be achieved through 30 to 60 minutes of moderate intensity exercises 5 times a week, or 20 to 60 minutes of vigorous intensity exercises 3 times a week, or a combination of both types. One continuous session combined with multiple short sessions, or at least 10 minutes, is also acceptable. For those starting out, gradual progression of exercise time, frequency, and intensity is always recommended. You are more likely to stay on track and avoid injury if you start gently. Resistant exercises. It is recommended that adults train each major muscle group 2 or 3 days each week using a variety of exercises and equipment. Very light and light intensity resistant training is best for older persons or previously persons who were somewhat dormant and are new to exercises. It is always recommended that you start with very light weights and you increase your intensity as you go on. 2 to 4 sets of each exercise will help adults improve their strength and their power. For each exercise, 8 to 12 repetitions improve strength and power. 10 to 15 repetitions improve strength in middle-aged and older persons starting exercise, while 15 to 20 repetitions improve muscular endurance. So we can see that the higher level of repetitions that we get into our exercises, the more we start to get deeper into our muscular system. And we have a stronger endurance system that we start to build. But it is very important to make sure that we always start very light. Some of the examples of moderate intensity exercises include brisk walking, dancing, swimming, gentle riding. And when I say gentle riding, we're talking about being able to just go along for like anywhere between 8 to 10 miles an hour, just gradually, just cruising it. And this is for persons that are generally now starting, or persons who are at the older age that are wanting to get into some form of exercise to avoid or to defeat some of the other illnesses that they may have. You will find that rehabilitation work always tend to be very, very slow, very soft in the beginning, and then it starts to increase because more oxygen is required for you to be able to work longer. So it's best to just gradually go about doing what you have to do. Some of the rigorous intensity exercises would be more like running and power walking, cycling. Now will take up a higher speed. Probably you'll be going now between 10, maybe 15 miles an hour. Aerobics, getting to a dance class, yeah, or some type of competitive sport that is intense and not too dormant, something that has a dynamic feel for it. Overall, though, any activity that gets you moving, gets your heart rate up, and gives you pleasure to do it regularly, and often is good for you in almost every way. I want to encourage you to have fun, be healthy, and feel good. Thank you very much.
I want to thank both Ricky and Carla for a very dynamic session. I think that was very enlightening, very enriching. And I think that we definitely came away with some tools about how to make our life a little healthier as we go on. I have a few questions. The first one is for Carla. So I ask, when you're talking about salts, so the person asked me, what about sea salt? Is that something that you could use a lot of, or something that you could really, because you're asking that question?
Okay. The thing with salt, we move from, there are different sodium levels for sea salt, Himalayan salt, iodized salt. One of the dangers I find is that we although different salts have different sodium levels and they have nutrient benefits, we go by taste. So what a person would choose, let's say sea salt, which doesn't have as much sodium as, let's say, iodized salt, but they're gonna add to get the taste that they're accustomed getting. So inevitably they put in more sodium than they need to. It needs to be measured. Whichever one you're going to use, it needs to be measured, a measured amount. Yes, it's a better option, but it doesn't make it any more better if you're gonna use too much of it.
Okay. Because my next question to you was going to be measuring food, because I know many times watching my grandmother cook and stuff like that, it used to be, it wasn't a big measuring. You see this cup, pour in this cup, and that was the measuring for it to put it in. So I was asking, how important is measuring your food, like weighing your food, that kind of thing? Is that something that people should really get into, or doesn't it have to be something that people really do?
No, it doesn't have to be that rigorous, unless you are on a, let's say you're being supervised in terms of losing weight, or you're interested in losing weight, or you're interested in controlling a particular intake of particular foods. Yes, you will then measure, but you have the other flip side of that for persons who have what we call eating disorders. So if it drives you to be that, rigid, that you can't eat out, you don't want your food starched, or all kinds of things, then we avoid it. How the plate is laid out generally works for most persons. once you fall into that parameters. So you don't necessarily have to take out like the measuring cup or the scale unless you are working with, let's say, a nutrition or dietetic professional, and that's what your aim is, then yes. Yeah.
Okay. And then another question is in terms of your height and your weight.
Your BMI.
BMI, yeah. Can you go a little more into BMI and how that plays a role in health and that kind of thing as well?
Okay, your body mass index is basically a measure of your weight for your height. We use it sometimes, but sometimes we don't use it, because the danger of using it is if you're a bodybuilder or you're a person that carries a higher muscle mass, it will put you in the overweight category when you're technically not overweight because you're more muscular than carrying body fat. What we use sometimes is a waist to hip ratio to see if because we tend to carry our waist in that arm weight in that central area. That's more indicator of poor health than we use BMI per se. It's just a measure. Like the scale is just a measure. People get very upset when they get on the scale in the mornings and they see the number that's not pleasing or the number they don't want to see, but it's a measure. It's a measure that you use then to kind of drive or dictate where you want to go.
Okay, and this question is both for, I guess, any of you two can answer it. So I answered, the people that eat right and work out consistently, but in the end, the person's asking in the end, they still die, like heart attacks and that kind of thing. Is it so much? Is it anything that you can be done really? Is it just a case of life? Because some people eat right, they exercise right, but still these things happen. So the person is wondering, is that related only to health, or that could be any other issue that maybe like family history or stuff that could lead to those sort of things?
Ricky, you want to go or you want me to?
Nah, I would come after you. I'd be interested to hear your perception on the nutritional side.
You, as with anything, that's out of our control. You can eat right, you can exercise, yes, and you will still die. Everybody's going to die. What nutrition and exercise does for me is improve the quality of your life, not the lifespan. You get me? Okay, you can eat well, and you may, okay, let me flip it the other way. I'm eating poorly, and I have a heart attack. I'm eating correctly, and I have a heart attack. I can almost guarantee you the recovery rate is going to be different for those two individuals. Because for me, what nutrition and exercise does is give your body the fighting chance. The old people talk about building on a very strong foundation. That is what you need to, that's what exercise and nutrition does for the body. It gives you the foundation to deal with the things that will come. You will always have those that will die. Funny, we could walk down the road and get hit with a bus and die. It has nothing to do with nutrition. It has nothing to do with exercise. But what for me, those two counterparts give is the quality. It improves the quality. And let me stick up in there. You're never too late to start.
Yeah, I would.
The quality of your life. Yes.
I would say that the question, Pastor Waldron, is one to which I think that most of us will face on a daily basis, because we ask these sorts of like questions as to, how comes that so and so, like they say, it can happen. But what is important for everyone to note is that, and you can even relate it to your families, every single person has a completely different genetic makeup. And it starts from your blood type. You will find that your family, your sister, your brother, your cousin, your mom, your dad, they may not all have the same blood type as you. So what that says, we are all made up individually in God's sight. And being different individuals, we then have to then relate from all the knowledge that Carla has passed on this evening when it comes to the nutritional aspect. What you put in your body is what really comes out. And it is so very important that if you want to increase your expectancy and lifespan and create and have a healthier life, you want to do all the other things like exercise and do all that type of stuff. But your genetic makeup is going to be different to some person else. The two of you may get on the same bike and ride all the way around Barbados. And their fitness levels may very well be similar. But you know what? They may not necessarily be having the same type of immune makeup. Their immune system will be slightly different. And that is one of the problems and the challenges that we have. When we look and we recognize how different things affect others. It's the same thing what Carla was just saying, you know, those two persons, the one that has a healthy lifestyle or a healthy diet as against one who has a poor diet, they're going to have more within them to fight. And it is the ability to fight. And if you do not have that ability to fight, then you can be susceptible to all the life challenges.
Okay, I understand it. And I like what Carla said as well too, that it's never too late to start. Because I know there's some people who, I know, like, they reach a bump in the road and then it's like there's no way back. You know, it could well just continue to eat or live the way you live, you know, because they all gonna die. You know, it's just inevitable. But like you said, there is never too late to start, because I think that somebody all need that encouragement, especially in this time now where, you know, you probably put on a few COVID pounds and then you tell yourself, what are you gonna do? You know, but that, I think that was a reassuring point, that it's never too late to start, because I think that people could really benefit from that, knowing that that simple phrase could really go a long way.
Very, very true. Very true. And I would say that the biggest challenge, Pastor Waldron, is time and time management for our people. And I relate it for time during the hours of a day and time within a lifestyle, a lifespan. Some people feel that when they're getting past 40 or when they're getting past 50, I getting old, man, I ain't able with nothing like that. There's nothing for me to do. So what they do is that they can continue to what you would more describe as live a coach life. You just get up, you eat, you do the same thing over and over and over again. And I'm sure Carla will probably be able to assist us too. You will find that there are some families that, regardless of whatever happened, and we've seen it, we've known about the situations of South Saturdays. Everybody feels that on Saturdays, that is the thing to do. And families in general, right? Families in general, they too have what you call a repetitive lifestyle. Every Sunday, I must have this, I must have that, I must have that. And what that does, and what people don't realize, is that you are continually, what you would describe, putting the body into lazy habits and getting used into what you call a comfort zone. And it is important that when you want to structure and come away from that, it requires something called discipline. And you must find, for those who are not working, you can slide in 15 minutes, just 15 minutes of just doing something simple, just a normal little stretch. You do that 15-minute stretch today. Tomorrow, you will find that you can stretch further. And the next day, you can do more and you can get more. And what that does is that then starts to get all the metabolics within the system. Everything will start to run right back into to key, you know. Those of us who are working every day, You know, you go to work early, you're out from 7 o'clock or 6:30, whatever the time is, and you back at 5:30, 6 o'clock, whatever. You don't have much time because it's time to get something to eat and go sleep, right? But you don't work Saturday and Sunday. So what you do, you slide in a half hour, an hour, depending on your intensity, so that you can go take that 15-minute, that half hour, that 1 hour walk, so that you can get into lifestyles that can assist you. But it's important to make sure that you get discipline in it, because if you do it this Saturday, make sure you structure your routine that you can do it the following Saturday. So the same way you can sit down and plan your menu, you plan your exercises the same way.
Okay. That's a very good point. I know if you plan the menu, that's a very good point. You know, I never really connected that before. The same way you plan your menu, plan your exercise. That's a very good.
Correct.
Both things. You have to structure your day to include both. And I like the point Mr. Clark said about families. I usually encourage my families to get up and move, because for the older ones, especially if you're a parent, your children watch on. So they're learning their behaviors from you. So I remember we used to run around and play. You used to have to beg us to come inside. Now it's like, don't go outside. So you have, and I want to put a plea for the children, because we are seeing all the adult diseases now in children, and it's mainly because of poor eating habits, and they're sedentary. They're not moving. They're this. That's what has. So we have to take some responsibility, and we have to encourage them. As Mr. It doesn't have to be a whole hour or two every day. Start with the 10 and 15 minutes. Buy a skipping rope. The band able to do something, and make it a family affair. This is it. Plan your menu, plan your exercise.
That's a very good point. And you know, and you just made the point about you seeing diseases in children. You know, you said that you just expect those in adults, but now you're seeing it in, and that's a very startling fact. And I know that during our sports day, we always really encourage families. So, you know, we make sure we have the races for the kids, races for teenagers, races for young adults, but we also have races for the elderly, because our theme for the last couple of years has been beyond membership, fostering community. You know, and really getting people to understand the importance of community, and you said, as families, you know, coming together as a family and exercising, eating right. You know, and you said if you're as a child, you see your parents eating right, eating something, you're gonna follow that right away. You're not gonna think about it because it's mommy and daddy. Whatever mommy and daddy do, I'm gonna do as well. So you know that shows the importance of being intentional and showing your children good habits. And I think that word habits come to play both for nutrition and for exercising. So I want to ask one final question. In terms of health, how important is sleep to health? Good rest, adequate rest.
That's for me, that's the other pillar. Because I think Mr. Clark alluded to it when we started talking about the motor car. And when I speak to my clients, I just said, if you have a motor car and it's running all the time, when it's new, that's fine. When it's 4 or 5 years old, 10 years old, that does not work. Yeah. Your body repairs, absorbs, and utilizes the nutrients best when you are at rest. So you need to put the body at rest. I actually have seen clients eat well and exercise, drink adequate amount of water, do all the things we tell them to do, and not rest, and have blood pressures up in the ear. We don't think about it because I think we are triggered with social media, all kind of things. There are different reasons why we don't sleep, but it's really fundamentally important that your body gets rest, both physically and mentally. Because some of us shut our eyes, but we don't sleep. I put it that way. Yeah. Because you can get up in the morning and replay the conversation you had in your head. Yeah, but rest is absolutely essential for absorption of nutrients, utilization of nutrients. I used to say to my clients, there's a reason why your cholesterol medication is taken at night, because your body assimilates and destroys it at night. So, but you need to be at rest.
Very good point, Carla. And this is where I would indicate that this is where exercise now comes in. It is very, as I said, I touched on the point early on, right? When you exercise, you're going to be involving a whole different set of muscle ranges that's going to then tire you. They're going to tire you. And when you are tired, what happens? You go off like a little baby and you wake up refreshed and stress-free. What happens is that we have a community that comes from a stress work environment, and they go home and they try as early as possible, and they say, you know what, my God, it's such a stressful day, man. I can't lie down. And as Carla said, they go and lie down, but you know that they're not resting because they're taking stress to their bed, and they get up in the morning and they still feel stressed. And that is where exercise is very, very important, because it takes that element of the brain, that cognitive feel of going out, doing something physical. You're now taking the stress of work away from you immediately. But then what it does then is that it works other muscles. And then that allows you then to rest well and get up well. And, you know, it is important that when we talk about sleep, the effects of sleep are felt not by the length of your sleep, but when you awake in the morning, you feel refreshed and you feel as though you're ready to take on each day. And that's very important.
That's a very good point. I think we able to see this evening, the importance of nutrition, the importance of fitness, but also the importance of sleep. And I know that we had a lot of fun, but actually our time is gone. That hour went very quickly. I want to thank both Carla and Ricky for joining us, taking the time to join us. I know there's still some more questions coming in, so I don't know, maybe sometime later down the road, and we have another sports initiative that maybe we could bring you guys back on again for a part 2. Because I'm sure there are people who benefit a lot from these sessions. I know I have some questions, some more questions, and we have some more information to share. Because I know that you guys just barely touch the surface of all that you all that you guys know.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate it. But don't you have any final words you want to say before you go?
I just want to say thank you. As I said before, it's never too late to start. Wherever you're at, start. You don't have to be brilliant at it or perfect at it. You just change one thing. Like, say, let's give up one drink and drink an extra glass of water. Start there, start small, be successful at that, and build on your habits. As Mr. Clark said, discipline. It takes discipline. Discipline will trump motivation every day. So I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, Ezzy, I want to first of all thank you for inviting me to be in this forum. I want to say personally thank you, Carla, for your presentation. It was very informative. I just wanted to leave with a couple of notes, Ezzy. Sorry, Pastor Waldron. It is very important to note, and I've come along in an environment where the best students were our best athletes. The best students were our best athletes. And it is important for parents to recognize that, yes, it is fantastic for us to see our young ones take gadgets at their ages and do the things that they do with them. And it is fantastic because we know when we were that age, we couldn't do it. But it must not be a thrill. It must not be a fantasy. It must be, yes, part of their curve, but the importance of going out and exercising, finding time to do things out there to exercise are very, very important in the structural context of their education and their overall health. So those are a couple of words that I would just want to leave with you. And I want to say thank you very much for giving me this forum. And again, thanks, Carla, very much. Lovely hearing you.
Same here, Mr.
Guys, good. That's it for this part one. We want to invite you to tune in for part two next week. As our moderator will be another member of the Sports Ministry, Andrea Titus, and she has a very informative and very good guest coming who speaks about mental health and how we can tackle some of these issues. So we look forward to see you next week. Have a good evening. God bless you. Have a great week, and we will see you on Wednesday for our Hour in the Word. Have a good evening. God bless you.